What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and it's time to talk about Crypto.com. Yesterday was a crazy day for Crypto.com. There was a lot of speculation, but we're going to get into that later on in the video. A lot of people were upset thinking that I was creating FUD, but in reality, I was just making a move that I needed to do for a long time. And amid all of the speculation, the $400 million transaction that looked fishy and at least is incompetent, definitely gave me some pause. And but we're going to get into that later in the video. I still love where Crypto.com is going, okay? And I'm going to lay that out for you later on. I want to talk about this because this is what we needed to hear from Chris, their CEO. Crypto.com CEO dismisses speculation of financial trouble, says FTX exposure is minimal. But there's something in here that I needed to hear, and I think a lot of people wanted to hear that we did hear. But we're going to get into that here. He did a live session, which was definitely needed. So let's jump in here and talk about what happened here. So let me zoom back out here. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay, here we go. So in an interview, MARSZALEK reiterated that the exchange has a strong balance sheet and said its exposure to FTX was limited to 10 million. Okay. We recovered 990 million from FTX, MARSZALEK said, pointing out that fund flows between exchanges are a necessary part of the business. An audit of Crypto.com is underway, but it'll take some time. We're looking forward to looking into that. Audit firms don't work at crypto speed, he said, emphasizing that Crypto.com and the industry both need full transparency to move forward. Withdrawals are working as expected. The only stoppage has been related to Gala, SRM, and Ray. SRM is closely tied to FTX. This is what I wanted to hear right here. MARSZALEK said that Crypto.com's token has never been used as loan collateral, unlike the relationship between FTX and Alameda, and FTX token, FTT. Definitely, this is something that is very, very important because we know that that business model did not work. He says, we're never going to raise funds, he added, stating that the business is cash flow positive. One of Crypto.com's more controversial moves has been stadium sponsorship with eye-watering price tags. There are questions about how effective the whole thing is as a sales funnel. MARSZALEK says it is a worthwhile investment, reminding people that the contracts are paid yearly. We pay a small amount every year, which amounts to around 10% of our revenue. This is not crazy compared to other companies, he said. Growth to 70 million users is not possible without some investment into brand awareness. Part of the market's mistrust of Crypto.com might stem from the exchange's recent $400 million mishap, where it accidentally sent Ether to an account at an exchange called Gate.io. That was the second time the company had mistakenly transferred an amount in the millions. In August, it was revealed that the exchange sent 10.5 million to a woman in Melbourne and took 7 months to notice it. So, okay, this wasn't malicious by any means now that we're learning what happened here, but if anything, it's just incompetent, right? MARSZALEK explained that all addresses for transfers of these scales are whitelisted and approved. The destination address was Crypto.com's corporate account at Gate.io. The funds were returned after Gate raised the corporate account's daily transfer limit. So that's all good. Now, I want to get into a list of things that happened yesterday, okay? And yes, I made a document because I don't want to be, I want to make sure I get all of this out, okay? So number one, there's this big thing going on right now, this FUD versus being critical. And some people were jumping at me saying I'm creating FUD during this whole thing. So let me tell you exactly what happened here. Yesterday, we woke up to this $400 million transfer, okay? This is in the midst of FTX completely collapsing. I'm already in the process of getting my funds off of centralized exchanges. Now Crypto.com is, I mean, all we had at that time was a $400 million transfer. We didn't know what was going on with it, right? We're trying to figure it out. So instead of wait and see approach, I took action. And I got the little bit of money that I had left. I have been actively taking money off of this exchange and all exchanges for months. So I went ahead, created a video about getting money off of all centralized exchanges, including the Crypto.com situation. Never once did I say that this is going under and they're insolvent and they're going bankrupt. People were saying it was a bank run. I said, this is a narrative. We don't know yet. We have to hear from them. If you watch the video, I never said that this was a complete bank run and, oh my gosh, create FUD. I never did that. I was simply being critical and taking action, getting money off of all centralized exchanges. That's it. So we have this narrative that like anytime you're critical of something, it's FUD, right? And so like, what do you have to do? Just like be a cheerleader all the time, like no matter what? Like then you're just like a fanboy. And then, listen, you have to be critical during these times. And again, this is great that Chris came out and said what happened here. But regardless, a 400 million transfer of money is super incompetent, right? I mean, we didn't know at the time what it was. And yes, there were a lot of things being said in the Twitter space. I get that. And people think that Mario and all of them in the Twitter space are creating FUD. You have to understand something. When you're trying to figure something out in real time, it's messy. But the fact that you're taking time to try to figure it out and not just shutting off everything on the outside that you don't agree with is a good thing, because we need to be critical of everything right now in our space. Every single thing we need to be critical of, right? So yes, I am still keeping money off of all centralized exchanges. I'm actively working today to get all of my funds off of Coinbase. I'm almost there. So this isn't a shot across the bow to crypto.com. I still believe in this company. I'm still an investor in Crow and hold the asset off of centralized exchanges. I do. The portion that I moved yesterday was just a small amount, $4,500. I have a lot more Crow that's offline, if you will, that's off exchanges. Yesterday was $4,500. Okay. $4,500. I moved into USDT. I took a minor loss and I just got it out of the platform because I had to act quick. Better safe than sorry. That was it. So if you want to call that FUD, you can, or you can call it just taking action on something we weren't sure about. And I was getting money off of exchanges anyways. But I look at Crow going forward as an exchange token that if they're not using it as collateral and not using it to fund, their marketing efforts, this is a frequent flyers type asset, right? And this could work. A lot of people will say, is this a use case? Is it not a use case? I think it could work. And obviously it's tied into the ecosystem via the credit cards and what have you, debit cards. But it's like you own a piece of the company by holding Crow. Like if you believe in the vision of what they're doing and building, right? And this is a tough conversation because centralized exchanges allow so many people to come in this space, right? They make it easier. But on the other hand, I want to get this message across, and I'm struggling with this, by the way. I don't know how to do this fully, okay? I'm struggling with there's this other side, not your keys, not your crypto. And it's like the exchanges are very, very easy to onboard people in, and people like that. And I think that's good for our space. But on the other end of the spectrum, we've just seen what happened with FTX, and you shouldn't have your money on exchanges. So I'm trying to do both here. I'm trying to figure it out in real time. I'm not perfect. So yesterday, a lot of people taking things out of context. But the big thing that came out of this is Crowcoin is not being used as collateral like FTT token. That's what Chris said. We're going to take him for his word, right? Crowcoin is not being used as collateral like FTT token was. Now, crypto.com still has 2.4 billion on the exchange and roughly 80 million. This is on their balance sheet, 80 million in Crow. Crypto.com still makes money by charging roughly 1.5 million to list on their exchange, which is crazy. That's a lot of money. So that's good for the business side of it, right? Interestingly enough, Kraken, Jesse from Kraken said they don't take any money for exchange listings. Crypto.com, the brand, is still spending tons of money on advertising to grow the brand. It's got a ton of brand awareness worldwide. It's still all over the UFC. We've got the FIFA World Cup coming up. I still believe in the company. But at the same time, I'm stuck because I want to get the message out that we shouldn't keep our assets on centralized exchanges. So I'm stuck. It's tough. And again, I'm learning and evolving as I grow. I'm not staying the same. And I'm not just a cheerleader for something because it gets me views on YouTube. I'm actively learning and growing through this process. So that's what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with, yes, Crypto.com is a great brand. It's bringing a lot of people in. But the more I'm learning and the more I'm sitting here every single day and learning about crypto is I think we need to get the message out that we need to get off of centralized exchanges with our assets too, and use centralized exchanges simply to move money in and out. So how do you do that as a content creator? How do you do that as an influencer? I don't know. I'm figuring that out. You know what I mean? Listen, I still believe crypto.com is a big winner in the end, and it's going to be a company that wins in the end. But reducing my overall exposure and diversifying my portfolio and getting off of all centralized exchanges together were two goals that I was doing before the $400 million transfer of money was discussed about crypto.com. Okay. And yes, there was some unwarranted FUD created yesterday, but I hope you understand that that was not my intention. That's not what I was trying to do yesterday, was wake up and create FUD about crypto.com. That's not what I'm trying to do at all here. I've talked about this project for well over a year. But as time goes on, I'm learning new things about the industry, and I'm stuck, right? Because I'm open to change. I'm open to change and evolve with times. And what we're learning here is we don't want to hold our assets on a centralized exchange. Any of them. We just don't. There's too much risk involved. So utilizing crypto.com to move money in and out, to transfer, is great, but I'm not holding any assets anywhere anymore. So that's what's going on here. Hopefully this makes sense. I know I've rambled on here for almost 12 minutes. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.